how did you receive the news yesterday that Bill? It's not a surprise, right? Because it'd been talked about for a while,
No.
but it's still shocking. Can something be not a surprise and also shocking because he's been so great for so long?
Well, it's been the number one parlor discussion in Boston sports all fall as the team has stumbled, and all the speculation about what would happen with him. It's been the number one you can imagine. It dominated all sports topics. Celtics got the best record in the league. People talking about Bill Belichick. Red Sox, stink again, and it looks like they're anyway. So no, we're not shocked. I think I'm glad to have a resolution. I mean, people were dying to see how it was going to come out. That's all.
The reason I say shocked, Bob, is because if it doesn't work with Bill Belichick, who is obviously great at what he does, if Bill Belichick is not immune in sports from a couple of bad seasons ending your run in a place, then who gets to be immune?
Well, that's a very good question, but I don't think it's that simple, really, because it's Bill Belichick, and he's his own category. The thing about it Ousting, one of the things is that it's the duality of this job that's caused the problem. The general belief is that his coaching is still fine. It's that the general manager hat that he wears has done him in. That the GM has sabotaged the coach by bad personnel decisions and bad decisions with coaching staffs. I mean, he can't run away from the disaster that was the 2022 season with the offensive coordinators who were defensive people and what it did to Mac Jones. He can't run away from that. He's responsible.
Can you explain to me the power dynamics at work and the ego at work when Bill Belichick and Tom Brady break up because of who's getting the credit here for what's happening? How much does Bob Kraft think he deserves the credit, and therefore there's tension with Belichick that runs him out of the building?
All right, let's back up, though, for a second. The breakup with Brady began a long time ago, and I have one of many who believe that the turning point in the entire affair was when Belichick was forced by Kraft. He was outvoted 2-1 on keeping Jimmy Garoppolo. That Belichick had drafted Garoppolo thinking he had the successor, that he was ready to move on from Tom Brady at that time. And eventually when he traded him to San Francisco, it was to give him a very good home, the best home he could find. He wasn't exiling him to some football Siberia. He was sending him to a place where he thought he liked the Shanahans, plural, and liked the style, and wanted to do right by Garoppolo. He wanted to keep him. And let's just remember one thing about Brady. And when he left, you have to go back to an interview that he gave with Jim Gray, in which he was asked the question, do you feel properly appreciated in Foxborough? And his answer was a very cryptic, I plead the fifth. And that tells we just go back to that. So there was trouble in paradise as far back as like 2016.
Yeah, but I'm asking you about Kraft and how much he thinks he's responsible for creating that, and how much that has to do with him saying, Belichick, get out of here. You're not in charge anymore. I am.
I don't think it's the level of Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson, okay? I don't think it's anything like that. Sure, I think Kraft wants to be loved. That's not more important than him. Not whether he wants credit or how much percentage credit he gets as opposed to Belichick or anybody else, Brady or anybody. He just wants to be loved. Ted Williams once said, I want to walk down the street and people point and say, there goes the greatest hitter who ever lived. Bob Kraft wants to walk down the street and have people say, there goes the greatest owner that ever lived. And that's the thing there. It's just he wants the public approbation. So, one way or the other. That's the deal.
I don't think Patriot fans have any earthly idea how spoiled they are. I don't think they have any self-awareness about how spoiled they are, and I don't think they know how bad this is about to get because the Patriots before Belichick were a laughingstock for many decades.
True, but I think it's predictable. Any fandom, it wouldn't be just endemic to people in New England. If this had happened in Houston or in Denver, or I think you would be able to say the same thing. realize a generation has grown up that know nothing but this, had known nothing but that success, and now they're introduced to the reality of sports fandom. And we've got a city where we've got we've got one very good team, the Celtics, one pretty good team, the Bruins, and two bad teams, or one very, very bad team, the Patriots, and one, we'll see how bad they're going to be again, but they're certainly no contender. They're out of contention. Now, of course, the Patriot fans would be a little bit spoiled. Wasn't that predictable?
Bob, you can't help yourself every damn time you bring it back to the Red Sox. Like, you just can't help yourself. You don't actually want to be talking about Belichick. You want to be talking about the Red Sox. Like, you can't even not do it. If ever there was a day not to mention the Red Sox, and you've done it twice, it's around this story, and you can't help yourself.
I beg to differ, but we will agree to disagree on that point.
Can you explain to me that if you were writing a column about this, you would take what angle because you find these things most interesting?
I've been thinking about this morning, and one that I might choose is how Boston has had two legacy coaches, legendary, unquestionable giants in their professions, and that each one also has a player without whom that success would not have existed. And I think I might have gone on that. Obviously, I'm talking about Red Auerbach and Bill Russell, and as well as Brady and Belichick. I think that's a fascinating parallel, and I don't think any other municipality has a story quite like it. That might be my focus.
Do you think Belichick is hurt today?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Bob.
Bob.
See if they can get it.
Hey,
Yes,
Bob.
yeah, I lost you. You faded out.
Yeah.
Bob, do you think that Bill Belichick is hurt today, wounded?
That's a great question. I think he's so supremely arrogant that he'll find a way to make this into a positive, and say, you didn't want me. Okay, I'll show you. He's not ready to quit. You got to. I don't think he loves what he does so much, and he and feels he's as good at it as anybody that's ever been. I would say that. I don't think he's hurt. I think he'll be on a vengeance tour, revenge tour.
Okay,
wherever he goes.
But that's how revenge works, though, Bob. You got to be hurt or hateful in order to want revenge. Like, I don't think he's a human being, even though his press conferences are droning, and you might not think of him as a human being. He probably feels like, hey, can I get the exit I want?
Let me say this: he's very much more multidimensional than people think. My belief is that he is a consummate actor in this public realm, that there is a very different Bill Belichick behind the scenes. I have had this vision over the years that after he exits one of those press conferences, not necessarily after a game, but the first couple of days of the week, and when he's stiffed on people about things, he walks into the coach's room and says, did it again. I can tell you this, as the week progresses, by Friday, he's an entirely different person, but people don't see that outside of the number of reporters who cover the team. That when there's a very different Bill Belichick. In fact, John Powers, my colleague, wrote a book called Fridays with Bill, and it's fascinating because it's just a football tutorial, absent all the condescension.
You have him teaching salsa classes on Tuesdays?
Yeah, I'm telling you. You got to see this the evolution during the week. Monday, he should never even come out after a game. He's hopeless. We agree to that. We know that. But believe me, he loosens up during the week, and by Friday, it's entirely different. And not enough people are aware of this. And but it's not here nor there in the big picture here for what's happening now. But I just point that out.
Bob, good talking to you. Always good catching up with you. Thank you for making the time, sir.
You're welcome, Dan. Anytime. You know that.
Love you, buddy. Mike Ryan, as a Zoom experience,
he didn't say I love you too.
That went better. Well, this connection dropped, I'm sure. I'm sure it's not because he's a repressed Bostonian who wouldn't share those feelings with another male. I'm sure it's because the technology didn't work. Jessica doesn't seem to think so. You think he doesn't love me?
I'd like to think. Robert Kraft for the opportunity, and my time here in New England has been really special to me. And now it's on to Seattle.
He's got to be hurt, right? He's got to be. He's a human being.
I can't wait for this press conference at noon. What if he turns on like an Emmanuel Acho like charm at this press conference? Don't be sad because it's over. Smile because it happened. Like, what if he just becomes a different person and handles this totally differently? Because this was a wild success over there in New England, a success that no other head coach in that profession in this expanded kind of league has ever had.
I like that Saban and Belichick at this stage in their careers both have Mac Jones in common. What a way to end it.
What would it sound like if Bill Belichick did turn on the Emmanuel Acho-like charm at this press conference to talk about his time in New England?
Endings are just new beginnings. Don't weep for my ending. Be joyful for my new beginning. Because with it embarks a great journey of knowledge and discovery. You see, change is something that we fear, but we shouldn't.